Hey guys, how is it going? I hope you're doing well. It's your boy S here back with another video. A bit later than planned. Technically, yesterday was International Anglo Indian, or as I call it, AI Day. I know what AI stands for, artificial intelligence, and I've made a few videos about Anglo Indian before, but yeah, I call us A.I.s sometimes. But anyway, I thought I'd talk about some of my ideas or plans, or even questions I would love to ask my fellow Anglo Indians. But obviously, anyone's welcome to comment. But yeah, this is mainly targeted towards my fellow Anglo Indians or people who are interested in finding out about Anglo Indians and things and whatnot. So, number one, I would love to know who you class as an Anglo Indian. I was debating with someone on an Anglo Indian group on Facebook about being an Anglo Indian, as I class myself as an Anglo Indian. But I think they were saying officially an Anglo Indian is someone who's who was born in and or residing in India or something. I think that's the official definition. But to me, an Anglo Indian is someone who has one white, if you like, and one brown, if you like, or Indian, or just brown parent, perhaps. But I'd love to hear what people's definitions of Anglo Indians are and that sort of thing. Yeah. So I suppose that's my first question. That's my first question or point. And also, I'd love to find out more about Anglo Indians and my own people, as I would class them as personally, and I think it'd be interesting if people found out about Anglo Indians, whether what Anglo Indians finding out about our own history and things like that, and other people finding out about facts about Anglo Indians and things like that. So I think it'd be interesting also for non-Anglo Indians to also post up questions for Anglo Indians or find out anything you want to learn. And maybe you can Google things as well and also ask Anglo Indians. Maybe that could be like a hashtag in the future, like hashtag Ask an Anglo Indian and things like that. Number two, I would love to think about what Anglo Indians can learn about things like business or politics and what we could teach each other. What Anglo Indians can learn about our own history and what other people can learn about us. And I think it'd be interesting to find out about from non-Anglo Indians whether you find Anglo Indian history or culture or tradition or whatever something you would like to find out about, or you already find it interesting. Maybe other mixed race groups or even other people generally. I suppose technically Anglo means English and Indian obviously means Indian, but so technically that's probably how the definition started. But I think originally we were called Eurasians, and Anglo Indians actually meant people who were from England or even UK generally as the Union, who were in India, like to be part of the British East India Company and things like that, which I hope to come to in more details. I also think it'd be great if it was a whole month, like August being my birth month as well, if it was a whole month towards Anglo Indian history and culture and tradition. Normally, I'm not a huge fan of culture or tradition because I think that sort of belongs in the past, whereas I'm more someone who wants to look more to the future, perhaps, but also learn from the past. But it would still be quite interesting to find out about the culture and tradition, for want of a better word. But also, we could perhaps look at making a new way of life as well. Number three, one question I'd love to ask my fellow Anglo Indians is, what does freedom mean to you personally? And perhaps Anglo Indians could discuss Anglo Indians around the world, A.I.s for short, as I say, could discuss what countries from your experience, if any, have treated you better than other countries, or what countries you think were more free. I think it'd be interesting to find out from Anglo Indians in India or Dubai or elsewhere whether they think the UK or the US is more free. I suppose it would probably be hard to know unless you travel. You'd probably only be able to go on hearsay or the grass being green on the other side or whatever. But yeah, I think it'd be interesting to find out what countries Anglo Indians think are the most free, and again, what freedom means to you. I've already discussed in previous videos generally what freedom means to me, which is being able to do whatever you want to do without fear of reprisal and stroke or repercussion, and stroke or not having to do what you don't want to do without reprisal and stroke or repercussion. That's why I think, even though I'm not that materialistic, I think most people, if they have money, would probably be more free or probably are more free than people who don't have much money, because you get to do more of what you want. Like you don't have to do a job you don't like or things like that. Yeah, I think I've covered that point enough, but in enough detail. But yeah, I'd love to know what you think is freedom, especially for my fellow Anglo Indians. Again, anyone can comment if you want to, but this is more targeted to Anglo Indians themselves or those who are interested in the history or the culture or whatnot. Maybe even people who find us attractive, that would be great. Just kidding. But anyway, moving, or maybe not. But yeah, number 4. I've discussed before what I'd love for Anglo Indians to stand for. So, on that note, please check out my other videos on Anglo Indians, or my other videos generally, if you'd be so kind, but especially the ones on Anglo Indians at this moment in time. And as it was Anglo Indian Day internationally yesterday, as I say, but yeah, me personally, I would love us to not join militaries, dare I say, no controversial idea, militaries or ideal or view, but I would like us not to join militaries, gangs, terrorism, or anything that's violent or that uses force or commit crimes or anything like that. And we'd call a truce on the rest of the world, if you like. Obviously, not committing violent crimes, especially, but even crimes generally as much as possible. I'd love us to be able to live within the law as much as possible, and also wherever we travel, wherever we reside, and hopefully the international community will respect us for that. Although I'm partly looking at religious leanings as well about not breaking the law and things like that. And also, I'd love to discuss putting the question to Anglo Indians, fellow Anglo Indians, what do you think the community should stand for, if anything? Should it be individualism? Is there something we should collectively do? There are certain things I would love to encourage us not to do, as I say, or to do, as I say, the things I've just mentioned. For instance, if we were going to join the military, I think it should be militaries that do not invade other nations, and also an agreement that we don't help to invade other nations, but we do help more so like things like security, especially for countries like Malaysia, India itself, especially, of course, Indonesia and Singapore. The reason why I chose those 4 countries, as I mentioned in the past, is because 1, they were colonized, and 2, they were very good, as far as I'm aware, or at least fairly good compared to other countries. They were probably the best 4 countries at treating Eurasians, which we are part of, I suppose, as well, which is a more broad term, of course. But also, I'd love us to help South Africa because of apartheid as well. Us and other mixed race groups. I class us as olive skin and mixed race, or sometimes I say olives for short. It's another one of my quirky little terms. Anywho, moving on. Number 5, I would love to hear from Anglo Indians about your goals, dreams, aims, ambitions, what you would like to see, whether they're selfish or less selfish, things like making the world a better place, creating world peace, and things like that. I'd love to know your goals for the community, or even as an individual, answer a goal for our own community or for the world, or whatnot, as Anglo Indians. And I'd love to give us a voice as well, and look at what we can do to contribute to the rest of the world as well as supporting our own people and being proud. Number 6, I would love to know like what you think we should work on and work towards. Also, what could I convince you to be an Italian football fan if you're an Anglo Indian? Because I'd love for Anglo Indians and possibly other similar mixed groups like Eurasians generally to support Italian football. Obviously, I'm biased as an Italian football fan, and I think probably a lot of us Anglo Indians look Italian. So, but yeah, it's one of the most successful countries in history in football, and I suppose we look Italian, although some might say Brazilian could be. But yeah, I'd love to know what I could do to convince you to be an Italian football fan. Also, as I say, what you would like us to work on generally, and things like making the world a better place, tackling poverty, and supporting what I call the 6, which I've mentioned in previous videos, so I don't want to go into that too much in detail. Due to my superstitions, I didn't want to be that to be the 3rd in the list. But anyway, moving on from my quirkiness. Number 7. Also, on that note, what do you think Anglo Indians should support Celtic as well, Celtic FC in Scotland? As an anti-imperialist, I would love for us to support Celtic and to convince my fellow Anglo Indians. I suppose I'm probably trying to make the image the group more in my image. I hope that didn't sound sacrilegious or blasphemous. What I mean by that is I would love for my fellow Anglo Indians to support things I support, I suppose. So, but they could always say no. But that's what I would like to say. And I think there was another question I was going to ask, or another thing I was going to mention, but I suppose for these videos I could say to God give the credit, as it is a 7th point, hoping that He will bless these videos perhaps. Number 8, one of the reasons why I think I myself and my fellow Anglo Indians, as well as other Eurasian groups, and possibly mixed race people generally and whatnot, and people of colour should unite and support each other, and why I'm more in favour of supporting India especially. One, it's because they were colonised and they had a lot of wealth taken out, so I feel it's a just sort of thing to support them. They had a lot of freedom taken away from them. People were even tortured and all sorts of horrible things. And another thing is because of white supremacists or neo-Nazis or far right, whatever you want to call them, which I use those terms interchangeably, and I suppose they hate mixed race people like us. So that's why I think we should support more Asian or African nations. And there's another reason which I hope to come to in part 3 perhaps, so I hope you look out for that one. But yeah, I would love to hear what you think we could do to spread love and tackle hate and tackle negativity and make the world more positive and generally more peaceful place. And I remember my chain of thought. But yeah, me personally, I would never hate anyone or anything, but I think it would be interesting to hear from my fellow Anglo Indians or people generally. Maybe you think that anyone watching this might say, including from the Anglo Indian community, might well say that it might not be possible to go through your life not hating things like people abusing each other or torturing or hurting each other generally. Obviously, those are the same sort of thing. But yeah, people might say you have to hate that or whatever. But me personally, if I could help it, I wouldn't hate anyone or answer or anything. But yeah, I'd love to hear your thoughts on that. Could the Anglo Indian community become a pacifist, conscientious, objecting, anti-violent, anti-crime or criminality, law-abiding, as I say, positive and loving community all the time? Or could we be those things, but at the same time we probably have to hate some things? I don't know. But I say, I myself, if I had a choice, I would not hate anyone, answer a call, anything. Easier said than done, of course. But I know some things make me irritated or angry or annoyed, but I try not to hate, because that's quite a strong sort of thing, strong word, I suppose. I suppose you could argue that doesn't mean we shouldn't necessarily do it, or I shouldn't necessarily do it. But yeah, probably dislike some things or a lot of things, but not hate. Probably even strongly dislike, but not hate anything or anyone. Anyway, moving on. Number 9, I would love to hear about any famous Anglo Indians, including poets, authors, writers, artists, creatives, musicians. I know there are quite a few Anglo Indian musicians. There are a few entrepreneurs I've seen on YouTube. On Facebook. Probably a few on YouTube as well. I know there's a Facebook group and a Facebook page, I'm sure, as well. I'm sure I saw one about Anglo Indian entrepreneurs. Maybe we could support each other's businesses, especially supporting our fellow Anglo Indians in India or across Asia, especially, or Africa, but also just generally as well. I would love also, on that note, for us to be able to spend our tax money or donate our tax money and donate as much as possible towards Asian nations like those I've mentioned, especially Malaysia, India in particular, the most, and also Indonesia and Singapore, but also supporting South Africa due to apartheid and things like that, and our fellow mixed race people like the coloureds, as they're called in South Africa, or Southern Africa generally. And number 10, I would love to know what you think about how we could, as a community, perhaps teach and train and support some of the poorest people in the world, especially in Asia, in particular in India, and again, those countries I talked about, and how we could support our own community, especially young people, to set up their own business or to learn things. And I'd love to know what you think they should learn and things like stuff like technology, business, politics, or things like that. Anyway, I've waffled on enough. So again, I'd love to hear what you think, and I am out. Peace and love.